You are now listening to the Unapologetic and Completely Random Podcast with your host, Jake DeMarco. What's going on, ladies and gents? Jake DeMarco, aka CountdownEnded, bringing you the Unapologetic and Completely Random Podcast. That's right, we're back. I'm joined by my beautiful better half, Courtney. Why don't you go ahead and say hello to the lovely people?
Better half, that is right.
That is absolutely correct. We're here, this week doing things a little bit different. We originally I wanted to, I should say, start this off as like a relationship advice podcast, and unfortunately that idea ran into the ground by, our lovely community. But from there, it might come back, it might happen. But for now, I grossed out Courtney in the preview as much as possible by showing her some, lovely progressive pornography, such as, two black brothers with a gun in their ass. From there, I figured, today we'll just discuss some of the weekly random weird news that I happened to come across. This one caught my eye just because of the the headline itself. If you're ready for this one, it says, "Family home stinks of rotten flesh."
Dear God.
Why do you think that would be?
I don't even know. Somebody's been dead in their house for far too long, or people don't know how to bathe properly.
You're not even close. It's because there's a portal to the spiritual underworld in their living room.
What?
So it says here, Steph Harper's 2-bedroom home looks like a typical suburban house, but she believes there's a portal to a spiritual world in the living room.
Oh, dear Jesus.
They said the mom of 4 claims it has been a hotbed for paranormal activity with unexplained bangs, strange smells, and spooky visions, which is now the norm. So this is in North Wales. And they have 4 children, as I mentioned. They've been living in the house since 2008. And they said, originally when it was just the 2 of us, one of the kids was tucked in bed. We heard violent banging coming from the child's room. We viewed the camera, nothing there. So, the hauntings and whatnot have just gotten worse. But they've actually had people come and check out their house, their vents, to try and rule out any, quote-unquote foul play for the stench. And no one can find where the smell is coming from. So she truly believes that this is a portal from the other realm. But reading this, I know you don't really believe much in ghosts and the afterlife. You're not a big believer. But to me, I actually find it a bit comical because I do believe to a certain extent, one.
It's not so much that I don't believe, it's just that I've never seen.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense as well. So, you got to see to believe. But I, on the other hand, have had, some odd disturbances, especially as, a younger child. And I really went ahead and noticed that after we had gotten a bed of mine from an antique store, I used to have a water bed that I slept in. It was my uncle's. He moved out. I took it, had that for a couple of years, and then the cats popped it. Obviously, cats and water beds don't get along. I woke up soaked and swimming. Hey, at least I didn't wet the bed myself. And we got a used bed from an antique store up the road here that used to be down in the center of town. And from that point on, I used to have these crazy dreams and visions, and it would be, the same, figure standing above me in bed and all this creepy stuff. And I remember a couple years back, Danielle being afraid to stay in her room, remember? And she had said without me ever bringing up the story to her, she said she saw the same thing that I used to see when I was younger.
Yeah, I know.
Same details, same story. She said she saw basically the same figure that I had seen standing above her bed. So without ever telling my younger child any information at all about this, I don't even think I even told you that story, previously to her bringing it up.
No, he didn't.
Certainly scared the shit out of me to hear her pretty much reiterate what one of my biggest fears at the time, being a young child. So I don't know. It's hard to go ahead and pinpoint what, but they certainly have all these smells, so it is an odd situation to say the least. Thank God our house doesn't smell like that. But speaking of bad smells and my terrible segues, one of the things that I'm laughing about is, you ready for this? A woman, 24. She got arrested by the cops. Her boyfriend had said that she stole money from him, and the cops couldn't find the money. When a female officer searched her, they found $6,233 wedged in her vagina.
Oh my God.
But she admitted to having the money there, but the other contents inside her vagina, she had no idea where it came from. That's right, because she had multiple grams of methamphetamine in there as well. So she did admit to having the money. She said she stole $5,000 from her boyfriend. So we don't know where the other $1,233 came from. This was, over 60 $100 bills, the rest in 5, 10s, and singles, all wedged up inside of her.
How do you even fit that much inside of you? That's just...
Well, you got to be creative. You got to ball it up and make that money, honey. But she had all this meth inside of her as well. And, at the center of the wad, the officer found, multiple grams of methamphetamine. And she of course denied it. And then as time went on, she eventually, as they lessened the charge.
How do you deny that when it's inside of you?
She said she didn't know where it came from. She tried blaming the boyfriend, oh, it was his. I just put the money inside me. And she later admitted that it was hers and she had stolen the money to go and get more drugs. But that is a resourceful vagina. Talk about having a personal pocket that... I just laugh, people's ingenuity to go ahead and make money at times never ceases to amaze me. You hear about a 52-year-old teacher who was charged recently because she was selling fake doctor's notes to students at $20 a pop so the students can go ahead and get out of their classes.
Nice.
Yeah, this was in Louisiana last week. So she would go ahead and write up these fake doctor notes and the students would get to go ahead and leave early. You gotta love how that works out. Yeah, she was falsifying public records, obviously, and but she did it on well, she did. She got arrested, and she did this, over 14 times for various students.
I'm sure that wasn't probably the only thing she was doing.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't. But continuing with the trend, as I mentioned earlier, of sticking things in places, there was a gentleman who was being sentenced to prison. And I don't know the original crime that he committed, but on his way in, he wanted to have a little fun when he got inside, so he put a large capsule of marijuana inside his nose. And, he planned on bringing it into prison.
You were going to say.
No, not where you thought I was going with that one. Fortunately, I changed it up this time. So he goes ahead and he puts this large capsule of marijuana inside of his nose, and then he forgot about it. But he didn't just forget about it. He forgot about it for a long time. 18 years to be exact. Being in prison, he goes ahead and starts complaining of headaches and a lot of head pain. He goes ahead, goes to the doctor. They do a CT scan, and it's, the study published earlier this week, appropriately titled "Nose Out of Joint." Go figure, haha. The surgeons saw a mass in the CT scan, so they went to perform a biopsy, and during the surgery, they ended up removing what was described as a rubber capsule containing degenerated marijuana. So it even shows pictures of this mass inside his nose. Thing was a huge size, so it was a bud-filled balloon up his right nostril, and then he ended up inhaling it into almost his sinuses. He thought he swallowed it and passed it, so...
How do you forget about something like that?
Well, he inhaled and went ahead and it went into his sinuses. He thought he swallowed it that way. So, freaking crazy what people can, go ahead and get into. But leave it up to our state as well. For Halloween, I told Danielle when we took her and her friends out, oh, it's always good, have your parents check your candy, blah, blah, blah. But there's never actually been in history a time where razor blades and dangerous items or poison, candy was distributed. The only time in history is if poison candy was given from the parents to the children, but not handed out for trick-or-treating. Well, leave it to 2019.
That all changed.
Yeah, because a Connecticut man went ahead and, first in Waterbury, was arrested after children found razor blades in their Halloween candy. He originally said, I have no idea where the razor blades came from. He left them in a bowl.
Oh, he had no idea.
Yeah, he just forgot. And then suddenly he said he spilled a box of razor blades into the bowl, thought he had removed them all.
So first it was he had no idea. Then it was, I spilled them accidentally.
Pretty much, so genius. And he got arrested when the police figured out, what had happened. Then in Watertown, Connecticut, there was actually someone, they're not sure yet exactly who, giving out CBD and THC infused gummy bears. And the, investigation basically shows it must have been by accident because these things are expensive. They're likely assuming that someone didn't realize that, they had switched out, their supply with the candy or something along those lines. But I could totally picture, getting just a little bit too high, going to, have some trick-or-treaters at the door and grabbing the wrong bowl and be like, here you go, kids. Now you got kids trying to eat, marijuana gummies. So just not a great Halloween for many, but what a disaster.
Hopefully they get what they deserved.
Or those kids, they're not in a bad spot. They eat some weed gummies.
Not the kids.
The kids eat the weed gummies, and they get to go ahead and finish all their candy in one night. They'll walk away with the munchies. And then there was an autistic child that actually went ahead and claimed that he had received this item from trick-or-treating, but police seem to think that he found it on the ground and just put it in his bag. The story doesn't quite match up, but either way, it was heroin, and it was in a little, bundle baggie, but it was a picture of Deadpool on the outside. So they're not sure if that actually came from trick-or-treating, but I can't imagine someone, giving out one solitary $50 bundle of heroin to a random trick-or-treater. I could picture it being dropped on Halloween, and
yeah, that probably makes more sense.
Yeah. Last is a woman in a Bloody Carrie costume, from the scene where she obviously is at the prom and she gets doused in the animal blood. She was trying to have, that costume be recreated. And she got into a car crash on her way back from the Halloween party. And the first responders pull up, and they are mortified that she's walking down the road just completely covered from head to toe in just so much blood. So Sydney Wolf, she's at West Virginia's Marshall University. She's driving home from the haunted house, and like we said, her car gets into an accident, and there she is roaming down the street, prom dress, tiara, and tons of fake blood.
Oh my God!
And it was actually
was it just a minor accident? Or?
Yeah, she struck a deer, and the front end of her car was pretty banged up, but she luckily was not injured at all. But when all the first responders showed up, they immediately thought she was dead, and then they, they assumed the worst. If you see the pictures here, I mean, she pulled off the costume quite well, but I don't think there's an inch of her that isn't covered in some red. So quite funny, to go ahead and have that issue. It's just, it was a little bit of a crazy Halloween. And then finally, non-Halloween related, another story that caught my eye is a couple think they've rescued a missing pet. Turns out they stole a stranger's cat.
Oh.
So a rescue operation to find Lentil, the cat, went downhill after a couple identified the wrong pet and put it in their car. So they think they're doing a good thing. They think, they saw a post on Facebook, and they go ahead. They keep an eye out for this missing cat. Oh, look at that. They think they see it. They take the cat. They take pictures of it. They bring it. And the person, is like, oh, my God, thank you so much. And they're excited. They're like, mate, we fucking got him. They're taking pictures. They're posting on Facebook. And they're like, wait, that cat's lived here for over a year. That's Sophie. It's not our, your cat. It's our cat. So reason I wanted to bring this one up, though, is it makes me laugh thinking of you stopping traffic to go ahead and save that box turtle. You come home with a turtle in the car on the passenger side floor.
I am very proud that I saved that little turtle's life.
There's you just literally running down the road, blocking traffic to save that turtle. So
Just like the raccoon that I fed in the trash can.
Yeah. Knowing you'd go ahead and get rabies some way, shape, or form. It doesn't surprise me. So, well, I'm going to refrain from the ultimate gross out stories this week, but we'll going forward, I want to go ahead. I had a few planned. I wanted you to hear the story of the blowfly girl, but that's a long one. Jesus. So we'll go ahead and we'll hold off, maybe till next week. But this is just an introduction, less of a podcast, more of a setup thing here, because I want to go ahead and see what people want to have us cover. And I also want to go ahead and incorporate some live calls eventually, and also questions. This originally was supposed to be kind of like a dating love advice type show. That was the goal. A little bit of shock humor, a little bit of fun, and a lot of community interaction. So I want to know, what do you guys want to hear? What do you want from us? What do you want to hear? Said, done, and told. We can enamor you with some funny tales of yesteryears. Courtney and I have been together, going on upwards of 14 years at this point. So it's been a long and wonderful time.
Haul.
Long and wonderful time. So, her and I, we've been through the ringer as far as our relationship goes, and unfortunately, we've had a lot of hard times too. But somehow, some way, we've managed to overcome a lot of adversity, and we're still together, stronger than ever. So
somehow, some way, we are. That we are.
And so we want to know, what do you guys? What do you want to know? Is there any relationship advice that you deem worthy from us? We'd love to go ahead and help you out. It's not a sense of us being know-it-alls. It's just the fact that, we've dealt with more than most couples have to ever endure. So you want to go ahead and, pass along some questions. You can go ahead and reach me on Twitter at CountdownEnded. You can leave it in the comments. I leave my DMs open, so if it's something you don't want said publicly, you want to keep it private, I will make sure it's anonymous, and we'll address that as it comes. So, like I said, this is just going to be a short and sweet episode, but it is a preview of things to come. We're hoping to do this once a week, make it hourly, and eventually do it live as well. So please go ahead. Make sure you comment down below, subscribe for future content. And Courtney, say goodbye to the people.
All right. Everybody have a good night.
Thank you so much for being here, babe. And everybody else, stay sexy, and we'll see you next time.